that it will most likely get, because we're going to move it to a more family-friendly place. It's currently at the shuttle turnaround, and that has caused a lot of, I'm sure as all the shuttle drivers know, a lot of drama there from people trying to pull into the shuttle turnaround and take photos, which they're not supposed to do. So employees have complained and shuttle drivers have complained, and we feel like it's a good time to move it while things are a little bit slowed down. So I talked with Scott Miskell, and he said that they do have the capacity to move the Sasquatch, so they will do that to the location that Stephen needs it to be moved to, correct?
So I've got a question. I was by there last week, end of last week. It's not there.
Right, it has been removed.
Oh, it has been moved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's gone.
All right.
I talked to Stephen like 4 days ago. I'm amazed he did not mention that to me.
He, I guess, knew that I knew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Okay, so it's already been moved, so.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
step one is,
And by moved, it's to the location where it's being repaired.
Okay.
So whether we want to fund the repairs or, if not, then he would
Okay. So it's
do
already
something
there,
else with it.
so-
Yes, sir.
it's up to us to vote on whether or not we want to provide the funding for the repair. It will be relocated to near the bathhouse and the playground area. We kind of decided that the director will have the final say on the exact location, but it's going to be in a more visible place. And $3,500 is quite a bit of money, but it should last for 4, 5, 10 years. I mean, Stephen kind of made it sound like there's no reason to think it will need many repairs in the future. So I asked Scott Miskell to draft up a contract for it that will include a plan on how to recoup the $3,500 for us, the park, and then also an arrangement to figure out how the leasing will go after that $3,500 has been recouped. So I don't know, did you want to read the contract out loud to the public, or is that something that?
We certainly could if that's what pleases the commission. In reality, I think everyone has been, all of you that has been provided a copy, and I do have
Okay.
an extra one here if we need it for the record. In short, what it does is that we would pay the $3,500 for the repairs. The delivery form this as a lease agreement, just like you'd lease a car or any other personal property. And that gives us certain rights that we wouldn't have. It just right now it's a loaner,
Right.
and so we would pay the $3,500, and we would have 5 years, is what I wrote it up as. I did speak with Steve. I sent a copy of this to Steve as well, and so with the one change that I had made that I sent to you subsequently, he is okay with this, by the way. So we would have 5 years, some technical things, but after the 5-year period, it would continue basically on a month-to-month basis, or we could renew an agreement back then, but he has expressed his intent to keep it there as long as we want it there, et cetera. Then the final thing is that there has been some talk about using a QR code or other mechanism to raise some funds. So many people go there and use it for a photo op. And by the way, that's why it deteriorated, is when he first created this, he didn't expect that people would be crawling all over it. And so he didn't design it or use the materials that would be appropriate. At any rate, if we use some QR codes where people, as they're taking pictures, they can use their phone to make a donation. What he wanted was, and what it sounded fair, is all of those funds up to the first $3,500 would go to reimburse what we paid. After that, it would be split equally as, call it a conditional lease payment. In other words, we wouldn't owe anything else other than if the funds are there, then it would be a lease payment by splitting those funds. And that's the long and short of it.
I like it.
And that it will be there within about a month or so is when it will be returned? Is that what kind of the
Yes, it shouldn't take that long. I put in writing that it would be, looks like January 31st, just to give them adequate time with holidays and all of that, but
Yeah,
I'm pretty optimistic that it would be before the end of the year.
okay.
Well, I think it might be prudent to have him hang on to it, not put it back into the park until the park is reopened and there's somebody there on
Okay.
more of a full-time basis.
Okay,
Just, I think if we're going to invest the money in repairing it, I think it'd be better to make sure that it's secure, and once we found the new home for it, that it's in a place where we can keep an eye on it a little bit better. I do think it's become an iconic piece.
yes.
I think clearly it's a
has.
draw. Being more central in the park, I think is the best idea for it, and I think, we've seen with the business, with the kind of numbers that we've been running through the bait shop and the cabins, that clearly that, people are coming to the park more frequently.
Yes.
So,
Now, just so we're clear, people are going to be able to climb on it now, right?
Yes, it will be officially designed for people to interact with it. Yeah.
Great, okay.
I mean, don't take a sledgehammer to it.
Well,
but
no.
Yeah, you can climb on it. And
Sit in his lap and take.
yeah,
pictures.
yeah,
Okay.
In fact, Mr. Feilbach had stated that it's the same thing that, for instance, Disney uses in its characters outdoors.
Okay,
Okay.
fantastic.
Well, I know Kevin mentioned waiting to put it, but if you'll just let us know when he thinks it's ready, then we can talk about it. If it's, because it could be tomorrow for all we know, it probably won't be, but just in case it is.
Okay. Well, and
Just
I'll certainly keep in mind to wait till we get closer to reopening. And I'm thinking of the location up more towards the bait shop area, just off to the left of where the small visitor center is. And we have the kiosk that was removed from Basin Park. I was thinking that that would be a good location as well to be able to post rules and hours and different things, or a lack of communication out there is definitely an issue, and moving that kiosk out there would, and I don't envision a concrete pad, but putting some pressure-treated 6x6s and then put the fines there like we use for tent pads might be good, just to give it a little better of a surface.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, you just let us know what he says about when it's ready. And
I
we
will.
can think about it. That'd be great, thank you. Let's see here. What else? Something else from Sam on new business?
Do we need to place a vote on
Oh,
the
yeah, I guess we should, shouldn't we?
Sasquatch?
Do we need to make a motion to approve this contract that Scott prepared? Do we? Or accept it, rather? I noticed you mentioned
Yep.
here in the part number 9 about Eureka Springs Parks and Recreation Commission. You specifically mentioned the commission, but engaging in the fundraising, so yeah, I guess we do have to approve it.
And may I just see that to make sure you have the proper
I'm missing the
draft,
first
since I
page.
had sent, oh. So I assume you'll make that part of the record?
Yes. I had ink issues. Do I have the
Yeah,
proper?
that is the second draft.
Okay. Oh, I had the wrong draft anyway, okay.
Yes.
So just to clarify, the $3,500 is all we're committed to up to and until such time that fundraising exceeds that amount, then we split the excess with him. If he chooses to terminate, we get the entire $3,500 back.
Yes, and I should just state that I added that provision, the current provision 5, or paragraph 5, at his request, and he was just looking that I had given ourselves a way out, that if we wanted to remove it, we could send him notice, and he would take it within 60 days. And he just said, well, just to be fair, if somebody offered him $100,000 for it, for instance, that he would pay us the full $3,500, even if we're into it 4 years, he would pay us the full $3,500 back, and then it would be his.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Stephen did gesture that he wanted something more in written form, so he's also very on board with the contract, just so you guys know.
Yeah, so Stephen's happy with this contract too? I see his name's on here.
Yes, well, that's just for the signature block, but yes, I did email it to him. He requested that one change.
Okay,
He approved that change after I forwarded it to him.
okay. Well, then, do I have a motion to approve this agreement or accept this agreement? You all
I
ready?
so move.
Is Kevin, have a second?
I'll second.
Carmen, discussion? Any more questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Is that everyone? 6-0, motion passes? Okay, the agreement for,
Did you vote? Christian said aye.
okay,
Okay.
motion passes 6-0. The agreement for the lease of the Sasquatch is accepted and approved. Thank you, Scott.
Yes.
I love it. I think people at the park love it. See, it has become iconic very quickly. Okay, where's my agenda? So that was first item in new business. Second item in new business, Sam again. Lake
Yes.
Leatherwood City Park.
yeah, so as you all know, I work for the Northwest Arkansas Trailblazers as an independent contractor at the moment. Basically, I would just like to get approval from the commission that you guys are okay, if need be, that I could potentially work on city property, city trails, essentially, doing light maintenance, essentially removing trees, down trees, weed eating, not weed eating right now, obviously, but raking, clearing drains, small stuff. Obviously, anything large scale, I would definitely come to Scott to get permission. So essentially, this is just to kind of cover my bases so that I have full transparency with the public and with you guys. Not sure if there's any red tape surrounding that, because I won't be getting paid by the city. I'll still be getting paid by the Trailblazers, but as a commissioner working in the park, just kind of want to get your guys' take on it and approval if need be.
What do y'all think? I don't know what I mean, since you're, it's different from the Trails Committee people volunteering or the ORC or the CC riders because they're not being paid. You're being paid, so I don't know what the difference would be.
Well, I think it's going to depend on circumstance. So if it's simply in the context of NWA Trailblazers paying Sam to kind of generally help maintain trails throughout the entire system, Passion Play, whatever here, that's one thing, and it's not, if it's not a grant specific to Lake Leatherwood Park that we have no input in, then I don't see an issue with that. I think and I think what Sam needs to understand is the perception of conflict of interest is oftentimes worse than actual conflict. And so if it is you going to them and asking them to pay you to work specifically in Lake Leatherwood Park, that I think I may have an issue with. If it's, I think that because of the relationship with the foundation and NWA Trailblazers and the fact that we receive funding